and today we're going to talk about how to build a half cadence. Also, it's called imperfect cadence. So now let's try to build our half cadence in G major. Alright, so there are a few different types of half cadence. We're going to try to build up 1 to 5th half cadence first, and then we're going to build for the rest of the half cadence types. Alright, okay, so yeah. And then we're going to use key signature to build up the cadence. So G major's got the F sharp, right? And then we're going to build up 1 to 5th half cadence. So half cadence is the ending that ends with the 5th. So there are a few different types of half cadence which ends with 1 to 5th, 2 to 5th, and 4 to 5th. Alright, so we're going to talk about these 3 types of half cadences today. We're starting with 1 to 5th half cadence in G major. So let's 1 to 5th. Alright, in G major. So what is the chord tones of 5th chord of G major? D chord. So I'm writing down the chord tones of D chord. And we always double the tonic. Alright, what is tonic triad of G? G chord, because G is the first note of G major scale. So when you build a 3 notes chord on G, the first note becomes a tonic triad. So let's write down the chord tones of G chord. Alright, and so there are 4 steps that you need to take. First, root always goes to the bass, and then tonic followed by leading note. Alright, and the common tones and whatever's left. Alright, so we're going to take the first step. The root goes to the bass. So once you use it, you make sure you tick. Alright, and then the tonic is followed by leading note. So I like to put the tonic by F sharp, which is the leading note. Alright, okay, so once you use it, make sure you tick. Alright, and then the common tones. So what is common tones here? D. So I like to put D on the soprano, and then B, which is in alto, followed by A, whatever's left. Alright, so high voices will always have stem going up, and then the low voices will always have a stem going down. So this is soprano, we have a stem going up, the alto will have a stem going down, and tenor will have a stem going up, the bass voice will always have a stem going down. So this is how you build up 1 to 5th half cadence. So when you see that the notes that close to the top line of the upper step, we like to put it on the soprano. And then one of the notes that is close to the bottom line or middle of the upper step, you want to put it in the alto voice. One of the notes that is close to the top line, you want to put it in the tenor. Then the root, yeah, the always goes to the bass, and the lower, the better, right? And also make sure that the distance between the tenor and the bass could be larger than 1 octave, but the distance between the soprano and alto cannot be larger than an octave. Alright, so remember that. Alright, and always remember the alto must sing higher than the tenor. It cannot be overlapped, okay? It cannot be singing lower than the tenor. So remember that, okay? Alright. Alright, so now we're going to talk about how to build the 4th to 5th half cadence. So remember, the half cadence is the ending that ends with 5th chord, the dominant triad. But there are different types of half cadences here. Now we're going to talk about how to build the 4th to 5th half cadence. So let's pick the key, maybe like A flat major. So what is the key signature of A flat major? 4 flats, B, E, A, D. So alright, so that is how many flats you have in the key signature of A flat major. So that's what we're doing here. So let's write down the key signature first, right? Alright, B, E, A, D. So we finished writing the key signature. Now let's write down the chord tones of the dominant triad of A flat major. What is it? A, B, C, D, E. E flat major chord becomes the fifth chord of A flat. So A, B, C, D, E. All right, so let's write down the chord tones of E flat major, right? And we always double the tonic. All right, and let's write down the chord tones of subdominant triad. So what is it? B, A, B, C, D. So D flat chord becomes the subdominant triad of A flat major. So A, B, C, D. Okay, so D flat. Flat, and we always double the tonic. All right, so here's one thing that you have to remember whenever you build a fourth to fifth half cadence. So the bass notes, right, there's nothing you can really do about it, right? So bass always, yeah, it's gonna be filled by the root. The root always goes to the bass, right? But rest of the voices must move down. So the rest of the three voices must move down. So that is one thing you must remember when you're building up half cadence, fourth to fifth, okay? All right, so fourth to fifth, all right, let's move the root, yeah, to the bass, okay? The root goes to the bass, okay? So D flat here, okay? D flat here, all right? And then E flat. All right, so we finished with the bass, right? And then the rest of them must move down, okay? All right, so once you finish it, you just tick, all right? And so F should be followed by which one? E flat, yes, okay? Once you use it, tick, right? Remember, the rest of the remaining voices must move down, okay? And then A flat, and then D down to B, okay? That's it, you finish, all right? We make sure that the remaining three voices move down, all right? But the bass note, there's nothing you can do. Root always will be on the bass, right? Stepping up, right? But the rest of the remaining voices must move down, okay? And then now we're drawing the stem. So the high female voice will have a stem going up, and the low female voice have a stem going down. And then the male voice will have stem going up because it's a tenor, which is the high male voice, and then the bass voice will always have a stem going down. So now we're doing the 2 to 5th half cadence, all right? So when you're building a 2 to 5th half cadence, you have to remember the rest of the notes must move to the nearest neighbor after you put the root on the bass. So the root always goes to the bass. The rest of the notes must move to the nearest neighbor. So that is how you build up 2 to 5th half cadence. All right. So we're gonna build up the chord 2 to 5th half cadence in F major. So the dominant triad, the chord tones are C, E, G, and C. And then what is the supertonic chord? The chord number 2 of F major. G chord, G minor, G, B flat, D, and G. All right. So the root goes to the bass, C, all right, and then G on the bass, all right? And then remember, the rest of the remaining notes must move to the nearest neighbor. So B flat will be followed by C, because C is the nearest neighbor from B, okay? So once you use it, then you have to tick, all right? And then the D supposed to be followed by E, because E is the nearest neighbor from D, okay? And then the common tones, all right? Always stay in the same voice, the common tones, all right? Okay, once you finish, try to draw the stem. So high female voice will have a stem going up, the low female voice will have a stem going down, the high male voice will have a stem going up, and the bass voice will always have a stem going down. So these are the 3 types of half cadence that we talked about. I hope it helped.